Hey guys, I'm Jeff Farina with Pocketnow.com, and these are my final thoughts on the Samsung Wave. Alright guys, and we're back, and I pretty much just want to jump into some of the pros of the Samsung Wave to get started. Some of the things that I really enjoyed about the phone that really stuck out to me, and the first one is going to be the screen itself. The screen is by far the most vibrant screen that I've ever used with a cell phone. The colors really jumped out at me, and the colors were extremely accurate. I also found that I was able to see the phone without an issue at all outside. Granted, as you saw in the camera testing, there was a little bit of glare. However, what I found was when you turn the brightness up, the colors actually will shine through that glare, and there's no issue at all seeing. As many of you do and do not know, is I spent a lot of time outside. That made the phone very easy for me to see. I was able to make phone calls, write emails, text message, even play games like the Asphalt 5, the racing game that I showed you in the software overview, without any issue whatsoever. So that really went a long way for me. Also staying on the screen, as I mentioned in the previous video, it's a capacitive touchscreen. Now, capacitive screens are usually amazing screens. I have used some phones that, I don't know if it's a software issue or a hardware issue, the capacitive doesn't really work that well. The Samsung Wave, however, is fantastic. Despite the fact that it's a very narrow screen, I was able to actually text message, write emails with ease on that on-screen virtual keyboard. I had no problems navigating. It was very accurate when I pressed on an icon, so I have no complaints as far as that goes. Another one of the great features that I really enjoyed about the Samsung Wave was what they call the Mobile AP. It's actually an application that's in the phone itself. It's basically just making your phone into a mobile hotspot. Now, I really wasn't able to show it in the software video, unfortunately, due to time and the fact that my signal, at least in my office and home area with AT&T's reception, isn't really the greatest. I was also only using Edge, which I will touch on later on in this video. I was able to basically take my phone, use it as a wireless hotspot to 3 computers. I did actually to my iPad itself and 2 other computers. So I was able to fully test that out, and it worked great for me. No issues at all, and not every phone has that, and the fact that Bada is going to incorporate that within their operating system was great to me. Jumping back toward the hardware front, I have to say, and it may sound weird, the form factor with the phone was just phenomenal for me. It fit in my hand, no problem at all. It was a thin phone. I'm used to putting cases on my phones, but I had no issues at all using that for what it was. The fact that it really wasn't that wide fit in my hand, in the palm of my hand perfectly. I was able to actually put the phone into my pocket, pull it out in one slick motion and unlock it, no issues at all. Put the phone back into my pocket with the same thing, there's no issues whatsoever. Staying on the hardware, also kind of moving right into the battery life. As many of you do know, I'm using the Evo right now, and the battery life isn't the greatest. However, with the Wave, which was my primary phone during this test period, I was getting like 2 days of battery on a consistent basis. Browsing wasn't really, the biggest thing that I was doing on the phone, but making a lot of phone calls and sending a lot of text messages, I had no problem at all with the battery. Now, kind of going back to the software front is going to actually be the browser and the fact that Flash is incorporated in the browser. As you saw in my test video of the browser itself, it's extremely fast. It doesn't load every detail to a website, and I'm not 100% sure why that is. However, the browser does load Flash and is compatible with Flash. That was huge for me. I actually do a lot of browsing that requires Flash. I miss out on a lot of videos, a lot of other content that does require Flash, because other phones that I may have used in the past did not use them. However, with the Wave, no issue at all, and as I showed you in the video, the browser is very fast. So I have to say the Bada native browser works great. Whatever Samsung has done on that front, they need to keep doing what they're doing. And finally is going to be the voice quality. Now, I've used the Nexus 1 with AT&T in the past, and that phone is notorious for having great voice quality. However, the Samsung Wave tops it. I don't know what they've done with the microphone in that phone or the fact that it's able to receive possibly a signal better. However, I was only using AT&T's Edge with the Samsung Wave, and it sounded better than the Nexus 1 did on AT&T's 3G signal. Once again, I'm not really sure what they've done, but people could hear me much better, and I could hear them much better. It actually sounded like their actual voice when I was talking to them on the phone now. So that, to me, is a new experience. Now having to move back to a different phone almost sounds like I'm talking on a muffled phone to me now. And now kind of going to some of the cons or some of the negatives about the phone. One of the first things I want to touch on is going to be the fact that, as you just heard, I was not able to get the 3G bands with AT&T on the Samsung Wave. So that was a big thing for me personally because my data speeds were a little slower in that sense. The phone is ultimately made for the UK, however, because it's unlocked, you can use it wherever. The hardware inside is not compatible with the 850 megahertz spectrum that we use here in the US, partly with AT&T. It will be 3G compatible with the UK, with most of Europe, as well as Australia, so there's no issues there. Another downside on the software side of things was actually the Samsung apps in the App Store. and the fact that I wasn't actually able to go into the store and download any kind of apps. I believe Samsung is going to be doing a steady rollout over time, basically going from country to country, and I believe the US is scheduled to get theirs in September-October timeframe. But the fact that I was actually not able to get in and download some new apps really made me feel like I was missing out on some of the key features that this phone could offer. I think this will grow in time, but right now it does need some work and it needs to be out so we can get a shot with it. And lastly, on the cross between the software and the hardware front is going to be the fact that the screen is somewhat small. It's 3.3 inches, and that was a little narrow for me when trying to text and stuff like that. While the screen is accurate, just the visual perception of seeing a small keyboard kind of made me feel like the phone was a little lacking in that sense. But on top of that, because the screen was so small, and also I think part of the software was the fact that I was only able to comfortably add 1 or 2 widgets per page, as you saw in the video itself. Now, I'm able to put up to 10 pages, which is great, but I would like to be able to put the main widgets that I'm going to be using on that first page comfortably, rather than having to do only 1 or 2 in what seems like a pre-decided template spot, so I can only move the widget up, down, left, right in a certain area. Now, basically, how do I feel about the phone? Honestly, guys, I love the phone. It was my main phone over the course that I was testing it out for. I did have my Evo with me, but the Evo really took a back seat here. I did use the Wave. I made all my phone calls with the Wave because I had more bars in more areas, go figure. I did also, though, find that the call quality was better, and that just really made the phone more enjoyable for me. Also, again, the form factor was great, and the fact that my battery was actually going to last me a full day, if not 2, really made me just, again, put the Evo aside and use the Wave for what it was. Now, would I use the Wave if I had the chance to personally buy the Wave? Probably not, and there's only one reason why. I see the Wave as more of I wouldn't say a niche device, but I see the Wave as a in-between or a tweener type device. If you have a feature phone on the left and a smartphone on the right, I feel the Wave and Bada fall right in the middle, and that's strictly because of Bada. Now, if you had the Wave with Android on it, I would say smartphone all the way, but I think some of the features that Bada offers in terms of the email and stuff like that isn't really the full spectrum that you would get on a smartphone, so I do think that it would fall right in the middle. So if you're not looking for a smartphone and you're not looking for a feature phone, you want something that's going to do a little more but not too much and really kind of scare you away, the Wave really will be for you. Alright guys, and that's going to wrap up my overview, my review of the Samsung Wave. I really hope you enjoyed some of the info I was able to provide to you. I know I had a lot of fun putting these videos together, so hopefully there'll be more from me coming in the next few months, next few weeks for that matter. Once again, I really do have to recommend the Samsung Wave if you're not looking for a smartphone or a dull feature phone, let's say. It does fall right in the middle there. And if you are looking to pick one up, you can get it over at clove.co.uk for around $400. And as I always ask, guys, please give us a thumbs up. Also, if you like these videos, and there will be more, and you want to see a lot more video overviews and all that fun stuff, please subscribe to our channel. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone.